Hello, friends. We are live, and I have invited my friend Brandy Hitt, and we go back a long time. We cheered together in high school, and that was many years ago. I can't say what reunion we're celebrating, but but Brandy, she's a few years younger than me, but we did have the opportunity to cheer together, and so we've reconnected recently. A friend of mine said, "You have got to invite Brandy on and hear her story." And so here we are. I'm so excited for you to join us. And I know God's just going to use Brandy's story in just a powerful way today. We were just talking about, I hope it reaches this one, but no, we hope it reaches millions. So, yes, thank you, Brandy, so much for coming on with me today. And I haven't heard the full story, so it's going to be a surprise to me too. So
brace yourselves, sit down, get ready. I don't know if I told you that, but make sure you're sitting.
yeah, so I told her, I said, let's make this, we're in a coffee shop together and just reconnecting over the years and unfiltered. Here we are. Let's hear the story.
Thank you, Pam, so much for having me. I'm absolutely just honored to be able to, for you to use your platform for me. I've certainly never seen myself doing anything like this, in my life ever. So thank you so much.
You got several friends here saying hi.
Oh, hey y'all. Oh, that just is probably my Thrive sisters. So,
Yes.
um, so, but basically, I was born in a small town called Lawrence County, Alabama. Um, at the age 3, my parents they built a business called Parkway Variety.
Mm-hmm.
Parkway Variety was like a Hobby Lobby, a furniture store, a tanning bed store. Like you could buy tanning beds there, you could buy furniture there, you could.
It was variety.
Yeah, variety. It was a variety store for sure. It started out what would be like a big garage size that grew into a 20,000 square foot building. It ended up just blossoming and flourishing. And but I was 3 years old when they opened it. I just remember playing there and growing up there and playing in the dirt and this and that. But as I got older, I started seeing as the business got more successful, I started seeing what money did: greed, lying, deceiving, people coming in from the outside and coming into my family. And it was just, it was pretty tough. I think that I dealt with it by, I don't know, having boyfriends and, just going out and just being with my friends. But I tried to ignore it for a very long time at a young age. But basically I would see, my mom and her wrongs. I would see my dad and his wrongs. And I was just sort of like a child caught in the middle of it.
Right. Process this.
Yes, I was just very caught in the middle. If one would question about the other one would question. I mean, it was just, it was just a stress. It was stressful. It was good when it was smaller. As it got bigger and it made more money, it was very stressful. At age 17, my parents decided they were going to divorce. And I don't know if you can imagine, but with a huge business and a divorce, how ugly it could really get. I was pregnant. I ended up getting pregnant at 17 years old. My parents' divorce was finalized the day after my baby was born. Um, and I say that's really when I lost my mom. My mom and I were best friends, and at age, at age 17, freshly turning 18, it's just sort of like she had to do what she had to do to go find herself. But it left me as a child with a child, and I just didn't know what to do.
Right.
I had no idea what I was doing. But when that happened, I've always been a daddy's girl, but that's really when I just really clinged on to my dad. And he and I just started having more real life conversations, and he ended up being like my best friend. I don't hold nothing back from dad. He doesn't hold nothing back from me. So we were super close.
Right.
But I also started self-medicating because I was hurt. I was hurt at the fact that, and let me just say this, it's just like I'm talking to you, Pam. I love um, my stepmother. I did, and I really still do. But at the time, I was so hurt because my parents split.
Right.
And I seen her and her daughter coming into the business that my mom and dad built with their own two hands. I was there from the time the first beam went up.
Right.
And it was like no longer mine. It was like theirs. It was like, hers, her daughter's, my dad, and it left me just super hurt. And a bit jealous, just to be honest.
Honest.
And so I started self-medicating with narcotic drugs, pain medication, all different sorts of pain medication, and partying, dabbling into other things that landed me directly into a 23-month prison sentence to Julia Tutwiler.
Oh my goodness.
And so I was hesitant about sharing this part of my story, but I really feel like I'm speaking to somebody today. I don't know who, but I did. I ended up doing almost a year of being in jail over it. I'm supposed to only do 9 months, but I think it ended up being about a year I was locked away. I got out, and when I got finished with all of that, I came home to my dad, who I've always known as Superman, like you don't mess with my daddy type man. He had a stroke, and he was diagnosed with stomach cancer. So when I left, when I come home, he just was not the same dad that I had when I left.
Looking for this support, and this, he wasn't there.
When you have a stroke, it was almost like I protected him. He didn't he didn't know how to feel half the time, and he didn't talk anymore. You're talking about a loud, obnoxious, telling the worst jokes kind of dad, to this feeble, like not wanting to go out of the house, who owns, and he didn't just own Parkway Variety. He owned a shopping center. He owned properties. He owned interstate land, hunting camps. Like he had all of this stuff. And here I am, me, watching every bit of it get taken over. And there's nothing, I was sick. Right. I was in my own addiction. But watching that was just super hard.
Yeah.
It was super hard. But he ended up passing away on March the 6th, 2014. And he was buried on my 31st birthday. March the 9th, 2014. So I don't know why Um, they couldn't have put that off one day, but they didn't. And I just look at it like, the day that we, celebrated my dad's life and all that he did is the day that I was born, and I'm honored now. I can't look at it as a negative. Like, the day we sent him to heaven is the day that I was born, and I just look at it as a divine, like it happened just like that because it was supposed to.
Right.
But so here I am, absolutely broken. Um, my dad was gone. Like, he was my, like, if you looked at in my corner, that's who you would see standing there. No
Yeah.
one else. My dad. So I pretty much knew what was going to come, but I didn't. I was so unprepared for what was about to happen to me. So I came into a multi-million-dollar inheritance. Um, I got the business, and of course, I do have a brother. I'm not going to bring my brother anywhere in my story just because my brother, that's his story
Right.
to share. So I'll just tell my side.
Right.
So I got the store, and I got a 2-level home on 10 acres. I got a ton of hunting land, a ton of other properties, properties I've never even set eyes on. I don't even know where they are. But a lot of money, a lot of land, a business, and a home. Um, the day that I started running Parkway Variety, every employee, when I showed up to the day that I took over, I showed up to work, unlocked the door, and nobody was there. Everybody quit
Oh,
that day. I had, and we take a lot of orders for people that are out of state for their cemetery pieces because we did flowers, we do
right.
cemetery pieces. And I had people from Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina coming in screaming at me, why is my order not ready? Turning me into the Better Business Bureau. I had no idea what was going on. I tried my best to figure it out before, I took over. But I was actually in the hospital on life support 2 weeks before I took over with pneumonia. So I had just came out of that, and then boom, I go straight into work. I have these people screaming at me. And then the day that my dad passed away, and we showed up to his house from the hospital, there were already people out at his shed stealing stuff. So you can imagine when I took over,
Right.
people started coming from every corner, hiding in the store. And, when I would lock up at night, they would, come out from the warehouse, clean it out. My own employees would clean it out. I would leave and go to a meeting, and come back, furniture's gone. It was just a bad time. But I guess I played what you would call a Hail Mary, because I was losing so much money by this that I, I ended up just firing everybody. And me and my partner at the time were just going to run it. So I bought a huge amount of merchandise to go in the store. It was delivered, and that very weekend, I went to the store to check on something and caught 2 family members who were loading up the last of it in a U-Haul and stole it.
Oh my goodness.
So thousands and thousands of dollars, what I had left to try to build,
Right.
was stolen. I just did not know what to do, Pam.
I can imagine you grew up there, but you weren't prepared to,
Like
run.
I knew how to run the register. I knew how to call into work when the baby was sick and, hey, Dad, I'm not working today. But like, really, like, was running this.
Yeah.
He got merchandise from China. I couldn't go to China You know, I couldn't, and his credit was not my credit.
Right.
I didn't know that when he passed, like that goes away. Now we run Brandy's credit, and that's how we get merchandise. So it was bad. It was bad. And so a couple approached me about a month later. I was totally at a loss of what to do. They wanted to purchase a piece of land behind the store, and they just, I just can just remember saying, yes, I'll sell you that piece of land. And just, I just told them everything. Um, they befriended me, got very close to me. They knew that I longed to have a mom or a dad or an uncle, somebody, just
Right.
somebody to grab onto and help me. Um, and I think they tried to fill that space. So they come up with this grand idea that they would help me, um, give me a chance to, let's save the business. Let's keep it going. And I won't mess around in saying that they drew up paperwork, and I signed it, in good faith. And I went to work.
Going.
I went to work the following Monday, and there were chains on my door of Parkway Variety, and the windows were papered up. I had signed a quit claims deed, to everything.
Wow.
To everything. The same thing happened with my house. Um, and so the word addiction, just, it doesn't even scratch the surface, of what I went through. You're talking about addiction, spiritual oppression, um, a nervous breakdown. I was homeless in 9 months. In 9 months, yeah, my dad's home, the 10 acres it was on, sold. I got $100,000 home. Um, the business that I lived in since I was 3 years old, gone. I had I called the police. I'm like, what is going on? Who has put like, I want somebody arrested. And they were like, man, we're going to arrest you if you don't leave this property.
Wow.
I mean, I cannot tell you, like, that's, and so telling the rest of my story, it's really, I believe 1000% in the spiritual, demonic attacks and things like that. And I was so vulnerable, that it's like it wasn't even me. I was the most dead person walking around that you could think of. Like I just wasn't there. I
Right.
wasn't there. And so I did whatever was in my path. I was homeless. I mean, I was able to get a place to stay, and it didn't work out. It was in a very bad area. I was living there with no power, no nothing, doing some hardcore drugs, hardcore. Um, I'm just trying to be sensitive to the viewers, but just some really hardcore drugs.
Right.
And under the most, I mean, just being just tortured daily. I couldn't get out of the bed without, I woke up in fear. I woke up um, with my heart beating out of my chest every day, and just fear. I knew there was a presence around me. That presence never left me. That presence tortured me morning, noon, and night. Um, it drove me insane. I had a complete nervous breakdown. I lost, I think, maybe around 120 pounds in about 9 months. And people say, well, you're on drugs, but like that, I hadn't even got started good. Like I just wasn't eating. I wasn't doing anything. Nothing, nothing. And so I decided that I just, I would beg for it to stop, like just please stop. I think I might have said, God, please make it stop. But I never, I don't know. It's hard to remember, but I can just remember I would start then hearing stuff like, well, if you want me to go away, well, you can kill yourself. Like, that's the only way I'm going away. I can remember it over and over and over in my head. And so I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I gave up custody of my kids, wanted to make sure they were taken care of. And that was my plan. But God had other plans. So I wanted to overdose, but it was just so strange that I could not get my hands on enough drugs. I would wait on money. It would never come. I was supposed to get my income tax. Well, it never came. I couldn't, it went to somebody else that year. Like stuff like that. God really intervened on that. And I had ran into my cheerleading coach about a year prior, and she had tried to help me on and off. And finally, some things transpired to where I went to the hospital and found out that I was, they said I was a month pregnant. No, I was 7.5 months pregnant. So she rushed, she took me to a hospital that specializes in mothers, that are in addiction, that are pregnant. And so I went there, and I think that, and that's where I had my Jesus moment. The doctor looked at me and just said, like, it would be an honor for me to care for you and deliver your baby. Mm-hmm. And I had not been taught to, like, I had not had someone be kind to me like that in a very long time. It was almost just like I was looking into the eyes of Jesus at that time. And, the part of me just wanted to get up and run. No, like, I'm not bringing a baby into this. No, I give up. Yeah. But he said, he put his hand on me and actually touched me. It was like, we're going to take care of you. And they did. And that's when I just said, God, if you see a way, because I sure don't. I don't have a car. I don't have a bank account. I don't have my kid. Who wants to live without their kids? Who? I mean, there's no purpose. There was no purpose for me. And so I just said, if you see a way out of this mess, like, I sure don't. I would really just love to just go, what I thought then would go be with my dad. I'll try. And I went into detox, and they were letting me go. And my cheerleading coach's friend of a friend of a friend just so happened to have a friend in the same area that I was at. And she said, I'll come get, she can stay with me. Okay. But, and the baby that I was pregnant with, like, I'm going to give him up for adoption. Obviously I can't take care of another baby. Like, I'm just in too much of a mess. Right. Started talking to people about, this is not what I envisioned my life to be ever. You knew me in high school.
Yes.
This is not.
This is not.
this is not what I mean, but yeah, I was just like, someone's gonna have to adopt my baby. And so I started calling around, and I went from there to like a treatment center to, um, I ran, I got a visit one day, and it was my old English teacher from high school.
Um,
Her name is Shelly Balick. She was my my, English teacher, and her husband was my principal at Decatur Heritage Christian School. So she come and visited me, and she's like, I have an extra room, and I don't know. It was just like, that's where I needed to go. I just felt it in me, and I went. Um, and they cared for me for 6 months. I lived with them. My old high school principal
wow.
and my English teacher.
Now
Um,
that's the hands and feet of Jesus right
uh,
there.
Absolutely. They, you know, cared for me, loved me, gave me an old vehicle. God just started setting stuff. I didn't know. I didn't see a way. I didn't
Right.
even have a purse. I came to Birmingham. I tell people all the time, I came to Birmingham with a bag and an outfit and a toothbrush that my cheerleading coach gave me. It wasn't even, she bought it for me. I had nothing.
Yes.
Um, and then I got a little, studio apartment. And what the miracle was when I had Inslee, the social worker looked at me and was like, "Why do you think you can't keep your child?" Um, and I just broke down. I was gonna have to adopt. I just didn't think I could do it.
Right.
But I kept praying, and God just, yes, Brandy, you can do it. You can. And I just had to live in the spirit every day.
Yes.
Spirit, I couldn't see with my eyes what was going to happen from time to, from the next point to the next point to the next point. But all I knew was I had to know that I knew that God would make a way.
Right.
AA meetings, going to church. I didn't have gas money. I didn't have money to do these things. But when I got there, somebody always would come up to me, "Hey, it was on my heart to give you this. There's my gas money home." Just, it's insane. Just person after person after person. And then um, when things, I got a job, but Inslee got sick. Um, and what my son has, actually, and ironically, has nothing to do with my drug use. He has CMV, which is cytomegalovirus, and it was just something that could not be helped. Like, it was just something I didn't have the antibodies to fight off. Um, and so they said, Inslee's not going to hear or see or walk. Um, and I just said, well, I don't accept that. I started praying for vision, hearing. So my son's doing all of those things, and I fully expect him to have a great life. My church got me a brand new place to live, and a brand new car. And I'm just little by little, like, I just started building, but I had nobody. I had to get to a place where everybody got out of God's way and let God deal with me.
Yes.
The people that, would want to save me was only getting in the way of what God was, where God was trying to get me to, which was on my knees and to look up to him, because that's all I had.
Right. Yes.
Um, and so, my favorite Bible verse is Psalms 18:19. And it says, "They confronted me in the day of my disaster, but the Lord was my support. He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. The Lord has dealt with me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands, he has rewarded me."
That's
And
awesome.
it just, to me, it just sort of goes back to that little girl who was just so broken.
Yes.
Um,
She was looking for her daddy, but her daddy was Jesus. And
yeah. So, you know, I don't even know that girl anymore. You know, I don't even, I don't know. I mean, I lost a lot, and that's why I'm not elaborating too much into the dark part,
right,
even into a lot of when I first, became sober, because I was in such a darkness. Um, Anybody that's dealing with addiction, like, don't be a fool to Satan. Please don't, because every time that you're getting high, you're just giving, a demon permission
yeah,
into your life and
yeah.
to
Enjoy
rule you.
it.
You don't realize that that's just really a form of inviting things into your life. So the you can't tell me about hearing noises or seeing things or looking out the window or looking in attics. You can't tell me anything about that. I've done it all. I know this. And I know people say, well, you're crazy. Well, you may look crazy, but spiritually, you are being tormented. Oh, there's something there, but it's
Yeah,
spiritually there. It's not physically there. And it just keeps on and on and on until you just do what I almost did,
right,
and and blow it. And look, I have my relationship with my kids are being restored. um you, you know Relationships with other people. And if this didn't happen, if all this didn't happen in my life, like, I wouldn't have such a sweet relationship with, like my son's grandmother. But she seen me in my strength pull myself out, knowing I had not one individual
right,
that was really rooting for me. You know what I mean? But supernaturally, God will send you exactly what you need to get you from A to B. Don't worry about C and D.
right,
C and D is just, and it's always a journey. It's always a journey. I'm not looking to just be somewhere. Um, I'm just waiting on what does God have for me next. I mean,
right,
things are absolutely beautiful in my life. Not everything's perfect, and I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm happy. And a lot of people ask me, what about the people that took your store? Did you not? Yes, I called an attorney, and my attorney got disbarred in the middle of the case, and so I lost all of my money, and I could not afford to get another one.
right,
So, but I will say this: I 1,000%, and hear me clear, forgive those people. 1,000%, I
yeah,
forgive them. 1,000%, I wish them nothing but happiness and success. Um,
right.
I
Because those things are just not the important things. It's your closeness and your walk with God that
Yeah,
sustains you every day, and it's not.
only thing that's important to me is when it's time for me. And like I try to tell my son, baby, we don't die. We don't die. Stop being afraid. Like, you, you're this outer,
Right,
but I promise you, we don't die. We're going to. That's when we begin to live. When we stop here, like, that's when our life is really gonna get sweet. When it's really gonna, like, um, I just, I don't know. All I care about is walking through that gate, because I know I know it's real. I know it's true. And a lot of people are going to find, and I say this, if they got that business for happiness, they're going to find out what I did
Right.
a long time ago about it. It's that's not going to give you happiness. It's not going to fill you. I would give it up 1,000 times over to have what I have right now.
Right.
This light shining in me, and this security, this peace, and knowing how to come against anything spiritually.
Right.
Um, depression, anxiety, you can battle against those things. And I knew nothing about that at all, but I was just a puppet, and a toy for
Yes.
for Satan,
Right.
just
Like
toy.
things
It,
scripting. Now
it,
you can,
it was
take
bad.
authority. Yeah. In the
Do
name of,
what?
I said, you can take authority now with the
I,
name of Jesus and not just drift through life.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
We've had lots of comments here. So, Kylie says, I'm so glad this is happening. And so many are proud of you. And
oh,
this is so much fun. Thank y'all so much for joining.
oh, I love y'all. It is. I'm sure it's my Thrive sisters.
Yeah.
I
That's
love them so much. I'm so glad they're here supporting me, and that just like God sent me these girls. I mean, sent me these girls. And it's not, I promise you, it's not money that is going to carry you. Money is not going to carry you. You need money, but I promise you, it'll come, it's going to come. Um, you just got to know what carries you. You got to know, it. Obviously, money didn't do it for me, right?
right.
I had plenty of it.
Right.
And, it was living in hell, but live in the spirit every day. Don't look at what you can see with your eyes. What you need is already there. It just hasn't manifested yet. You don't see it yet, but
Right.
it's there. God has put everything you need here, and talk to him. God,
Yes.
I need this. God, show me where to go, what to do, how to, and it's coming.
I think our greatest prayer is God, just guide our steps. I know that's in Psalms or Proverbs. That order
Yeah,
our steps, order each and every step that we walk in your spirit. We're listening to your voice and your plan, and just guide us, Lord. And I'm probably sure now you have a different view of money. That God, you're going to bless me so I can be generous to others.
I,
And
I, absolutely. I had a fear of it. For a long time. I was very fine with just having just enough. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely expect for God to bless me so that it is my passion to help other people. Um, and like I told you earlier, my story could go so many different ways, but I just want to be that one person that just says, hey, listen,
right,
you have a power inside of you that is greater than any addiction, than any anxiety, than any depression. I promise you. And yes, and be able to help other people.
yeah. So, Brandy, I see you being that person for somebody else to say, "Here's a new apartment to get started. Here's a
Yeah,
new car that
yeah.
he's gonna bless you so you can bless others." I see that.
I just joined the outreach ministry at church actually last weekend, and I'm going to be going into prisons, speaking to women.
Oh, that's
Um, yeah, are you okay? You crying? I am. But yeah, I'm going to be going and helping them. I go to Church of the Highlands, and I'm going to be helping them do freedom groups in there, hopefully. And I'm super excited. It's still a process, so I got to be approved and everything. But I remember thinking, why did I even go to jail? Like, I ended up serving my time, the whole time in the county. They never transported me to Julia Tutwiler, which I don't know which is worse, being stuck in a building for a year, but neither one of them's good. But I was just like, why did I go to jail? It didn't help me. Like, it didn't. Why was I here? I didn't learn anything, but now I know why.
Right.
Because when I step back through those same gates,
Yes.
well, I know what these other women are feeling, and
Right.
we're going to
Exactly.
get them out of this.
Yeah. You're going to be able to give them hope and be able to see.
Absolutely. Well, when I say get out of this spiritual torture, this um, and take authority, like you said, over their lives. If I
Yeah.
can do it, I promise you. If I can, anybody on the face of the earth.
Yes. I love it. Yeah. So Brandy, thank you so much for telling your story
You're
today.
welcome.
I
Thank
know
you.
God is going to use this, and we're going to share it as far as we can share it, and let God do a miracle and bless others with it, because I know He's going to bless you to bless others, and
I
I
fully
speak
believe that. I
that
do.
over you. Yes, I believe that. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you all for tuning in with us and joining us. It's just, I mean, I'm honored that you're here. So I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day.
All
See you soon.
right. Bye.